What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Fleetwood Mac. And we're returning for the penultimate tune on the Greatest Hits compilation. That is to say, we're skipping over Big Love because I already reacted that on its proper album. And the second to last tune on this compilation is Over My Head. And when I saw that, I was like, wait, didn't I react to that? Because when you go through a Greatest Hits album sometime, as I've come to learn, you end up re-reacting to a track that you already went through on a proper album. But no, the reason it was in my head is because I reacted to a Flock of Seagulls tune by the same name. And I don't remember anyone saying in the comments there that, oh, by the way, this is a cover of a Fleetwood Mac tune. So I'm assuming they're two separate tracks, just title conversions. If somehow they are related and I didn't know that or no one commented to that effect, I do apologize for not knowing. Nevertheless, as I probably said there in the Flock of Seagulls reaction, the phrase refers to something which is beyond your current mental wherewithal to understand. Sometimes it's said about jokes in particular. Someone makes a joke and you don't really get it, so you don't laugh. It's like, well, I guess that's over my head. But of course it could relate to academic or scholarly concepts as well. The idea of not having the training or perhaps intelligence to appreciate what is being said. And ultimately, given that a lot of songs in different genres, but among Fleetwood Mac's tunes in particular, at least as I've come to know them, which is to say a very small sliver of their catalog, they do seem to talk about relationships and emotions, especially in complicated circumstances, so perhaps it could relate to an emotional truth or understanding that is over the head of the person who is making the statement to that effect. I suppose we could be talking literally about higher elevation. I feel like that's less likely. Maybe there could be a play on words where we are talking about the idiom, but maybe with a reference to someone who is above you in a physical sense and therefore having it play out on multiple levels, which I suppose would itself be a bit of a cheeky lyrical turn. Nevertheless, I'll see what I can pick up on a first listen. Let's hear it. This is Fleetwood Mac. The track is Over My Head, and it's included on their Greatest Hits compilation. It's like, wait, what?
You can take me to paradise, and then again you can be cold as ice. I'm over my head.
fade, which, as I've said in innumerable reactions over the last couple of years, I do prefer to the rapid drop-off cliff fade-out ending. Nevertheless, it faded quicker than I expected. I feel like that couldn't have been more than like 3.5 minutes. Yeah, about 3.5, which even then I would have thought, it felt shorter than that. It felt like maybe 3 minutes. In any case, definitely a country twang to this one, a folk country feel. And interestingly enough, the phrase seemed to be "I'm over my head," which suggests that it's not so much about not getting something. Normally you might say "I'm in over my head," which is to say, you're in a situation where you're kind of out of control, you don't really have the ability to steer what's happening, you're maybe working on something beyond your means, beyond your experience, beyond your ability level. But "I'm over my head" is not really a way I've heard it phrased before, so given what I caught from the other lyrics, which again I don't think are related to that Flock of Seagulls track at all, she seems to be saying she feels like she's in limbo, which I guess maybe that does fit with the idea of like I'm in over my head. But the idea of a guy who apparently she likes having a connection with, she likes being intimate with, and she's staying around for the possibility that it can continue and perhaps develop more to her liking. But she's also saying that like one day he's friendly and loving, the next day he's very cold, she doesn't quite know what to expect, he's changing all the time. What is the phrase? Like a circus wheel, I think it was. So the idea that she feels like she might be wasting her time, but then when it turns good again, she feels right and it's appropriate, something she wants. So she's a bit in limbo. She doesn't know whether this is something that will last, and if it doesn't last, whether she'll end up feeling like this wasn't worth my energy and effort and time to begin with. But yeah, so it feels like the phrase is running in a different direction than I expected in advance. I do like, again, the psycho-emotional ambiguity of it, the complexity of it, the idea of this person is someone important to me, and they can be the type of person that I'd really like to be with, but they can also be different, and they can also make me feel like I'm losing my pride, like the idea that I'm not being treated well all the time or being made happy when it would be comforting, and instead it's only seemingly on the whim of this other person. She's lost a little bit of pride from this experience, so I like, again, the complication, the complexity of the psycho-emotional feeling that's being displayed. There's a vulnerability to it, as I guess what I'm saying. And yeah, I've heard some different flavors, but I do know that this is one of the sonic directions that they can do very well, this folk rock meets pop rock type of sound, with, again, this one having slightly more country twang to it. So either way, as I said, a bit shorter than I expected. I was surprised to hear it start to fade out, but in any case, a cool tune. The last one on the playlist, if I can read with my increasingly hard to see small print eyes, the question, what is it, the question? It's the question something. Why is it always so hard to see? The question awaits, is that what it is? Yeah, it's hard to see. I'll have to look. It's something like the question awaits, but the print is very small, and these eyes of mine, oh, they have seen better days. So yes, if, assuming I haven't reacted to that, I will check that out, and then as I mentioned many months ago, I have a copy of The Dance, which I got from my parents. I think maybe it's a live album in the moment, I'm forgetting, but yeah, ultimately, when I went over to my parents many moons ago, I noticed they had some other stuff that I ripped and put into a zip file form, and I know I have the Fleetwood album, The Dance. So when we finish this, we'll start going through that, though as I also mentioned, I do have an extended mix of Little Lies. I'd like to hear that, because that tune, not only did I know it a little bit before doing the reaction to the normal version, I do think that's a really great track, so I'd like to hear an extended version. In any case, we'll be back with Fleetwood Mac in not too long. Let me know what you think of this, and I will see you then. Peace.